لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. It is important as much as to know the Masael. It is also very important to be in good health. In fact, it is wajib to be in good health. If you are ill, you cannot go to Hajj. And if you are unwell, you cannot complete your ahkam. And therefore, having good health is very important. My talk is divided into three parts. The one which is before Hajj, what conditions exist and happens before Hajj, during Hajj, which is most important, and some aspects of after you return from Hajj. So, before Hajj, it's important to be healthy and to know what you are expecting in Hajj. There are certain things which we expect all the time. Number one is the dry weather. Number two is the use of the washroom. Number three is the dusty environment, particularly in Medina. Number four, it's the heat. Number five, it's the pre-existing health conditions such as diabetes, blood pressure, heart problems, arthritis, and no practice in walking. In Hajj, there is a lot of walking. From one corner of the haram to another corner of haram can be a very long distance. For instance, in Medina, when you come out from the house, although it is just next to the haram, but from the house you come out all that sahan and walk through the pathway to go into the entrance, it's quite a distance. For those who have Fitbits, last year I recorded that just 2 visits to the haram was enough to give me 7,000 steps. And now you have not even talked about going to Baki or any other place, which again there are a number of steps, so it's very easy to make your steps done, but it's very hard for those who don't have practice to walk. So now within 1 or 2 weeks, if you are not used to walking, get yourself tuned to walk. So pre-existing health conditions, so I'll go more about it. Number one, you need to consult your physician now, this time. Number two is to make sure your vaccines are up to date. The required vaccines for the government of Saudi Arabia 2024, the required, the compulsory, are meningitis, yellow fever. Mind me, meningitis, yellow fever. Plus or minus hepatitis. These are must. The optional vaccine, depending on different countries and different situations, are polio, measles, tetanus. COVID, plus or minus. Influenza vaccine, the flu vaccine, which is common in North America, and it is common in winter, and it does not happen in Africa or in Arabia, is actually an option for those who come from North America. But it is not required. H-influenza vaccine, the virus one, the flu vaccine, is not registered by the government. So here in Tanzania, it is illegally being given by some business-oriented doctors, unfortunately. And it has to be given every year because every year the virus changes its property and it is seasonal. So it is not required. Moreover, it has its own side effects such as excessive sleep and malaise. So no need to take that vaccine. It is must to take meningitis, hepatitis and yellow fever. In those countries which are affected with wild polio and measles, it is recommended to take those. So in Malawi, for example, there was an outbreak of polio in Syria, in Afghanistan, and other places. So they recommend to take polio vaccine. But it's not recommended for Tanzanians, it's not needed. You must have your own first aid kit. What I mean by first aid kit is at least you have one or two plasters in your small little pouch and a few Panadols, and make sure you test for malaria before you leave. To test for malaria parasites. You have to be clean and have your hygiene equipments such as the blood sugar machine, and if you are monitoring yourself, your blood pressure, then your blood pressure machine and your blood glucose machine. And cleanliness, I say, for those who are traveling, make sure you cut your nails short, particularly the toenails. And appropriate clothing means there should be light clothing now in summer. It's very hot. So I have highlighted the vaccines for this year. But as I said, polio, measles, optional vaccines, COVID, seasonal influenza. And what is meningitis? So I know it's scary to hear about meningitis. Actually, it is scary. If it is not well recognized and treated within 24 to 48 hours, it can cause death. So it is better to have the vaccine. It is an infection of the covering of the brain and the spinal cord. It can cause life-threatening conditions, severe headache, fever, neck stiffness, progressive to death via coma. And there is ACWY vaccine, which is very protective. And nowadays, it's lifelong. The new vaccine is lifelong. If you have taken it 3 years ago, better you take now, and this new one is lifelong. One dose of ciprofloxacin, 500 milligram, is helpful in killing the germs which have remained in the nose. So sometimes while returning, the Saudi government or the doctor in charge will give you one tablet of 500 milligram cipro. You should take it. It's good to take it to prevent giving it to your children and family while you are coming back. Except that when you are pregnant, don't take cipro. But otherwise, you have to take cipro. It is not recommended in pregnant women. And there are viral diseases, very common. Here also we get viral diseases every now and then. So in order to avoid that, viral disease depends on the sneezing and close contact of people, which you cannot avoid in Hajj. And depends, sometimes it happens in 4th or 5th or 6th day. So you find many times in Medina there are no problems. Once you start Makkah trip after Medina, everybody starts getting sick because that virus is now taking charge. Because in the first few days in Medina, there is usually no problem. There is luxury for the doctors, with no patients. But the viral disease also depends on the age group and immune status and the viral infection itself. So you can have lymph nodes, body pain, rashes, flu-like symptoms, fever, and so on. And examples of viral fevers, as we all know from our day-to-day experience, is like mumps and measles, rubella, chickenpox, normal flu, some viruses, different types. But also those which we are using the vaccine, hepatitis, yellow fever, are all viral diseases. Hepatitis A is transmitted by food and water. So unclean water and unclean food. It is sunnah to wash your hands before food. In fact, it is so good a tradition in the African population where I always interact with them here, that they would never eat anything without washing the hands. But unfortunately, this sunnah is not practiced by us. We come out from the mosque and directly go and have niyaz. We don't wash our hands before going to eat. And 100 people will have shaken hands with you. So it is the sunnah of the Prophet to wash your hands before eating food. This is one of the reasons. So wash your hands. You will find in the traditions they will give you a kettle and a bowl to wash your hands. They will religiously wash their hands. But we shake hands, we sneeze, we cough, we even take out our gunga and then we eat the food. So food and water. Hepatitis B is blood-borne. Blood-borne, it's very similar to transmission of other viruses of this kind like HIV. So if it is blood-borne, why are we advising in Hajj? There is no sexual interaction, there is no such things. But even one drop, even a slightest drop or a scratch, from a scratch to scratch, can transmit hepatitis B very fast. So hepatitis B is very, very easily transmitted, 100 times more faster transmitted even than HIV. So it's better to be protected, because if there is a scratch, there is an injury, there is a wound, there is an accident, and you are not all doctors going around with emergency bag and gloves and things. So you may touch somewhere the blood and you have a scratch here and there. Then it's very risky for your life because of hepatitis B. In the long run, hepatitis B can cause liver cancer and it's very severe. Yellow fever, the virus exists and the vector is present here, the Aedes aegypti. This is the same mosquito which transmits dengue fever, and it is usually soon after the rains. So this is a season where dengue fever is very common, as malaria as well. There is no cure for yellow fever and dengue, and it can be very dangerous. So better to get vaccinated, and the vaccine now is one dose lifelong, so get one forever, done. There is no vaccine for dengue fever. So I heard from one hospital somewhere in city, they were giving dengue fever vaccine. And I was really shocked because I thought that hospital or that doctor should be given a Nobel Prize, because scientists haven't developed dengue fever vaccine yet. It is still under test, and here in Dar es Salaam, somebody is giving dengue fever vaccine. So please be careful about this kind of hangama happening in the things. It's very important to know this. Ask those who know. That's an ayat of the Quran and Hadith also. Fasalu ala dhikri. Ask those who know. The danger signs of all these viral infections, including malaria, dengue, yellow fever. Of course, malaria is not a virus, but it's similar transmission. You have chills, neck stiffness, intense headache, vomiting, confusion, loss of consciousness, and urine output, which is deep color. Now, please see these signs again, what I'm talking about. There are chills, neck stiffness, intense headache, vomiting, confusion, loss of consciousness, reduced urine output. These are exactly the signs of heat stroke. So you can be easily confused that this is heat stroke and cannot be malaria because you have been exposed to the heat. So you have to be very careful about this. Unfortunately, last year we lost Hajj because there was very high fever ongoing for a couple of days. And by the time we realized it was malaria, it was very severe malaria. And she lost her life. And we request Surah Fatiha for her and for all other marhum who have been in Hajj and contributed to the Hajj team. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. I'll talk more about heat stroke and prevention of heat injuries while you are in Hajj. So during Hajj, now we have said before Hajj, all these infections and vaccines and your diabetes and blood pressure and heart conditions all under control. Cleanliness, your nails, particularly toenails. During Hajj, watch what you eat. It's very tempting sometimes not to drink slush and cold juices and things when it's available very easily. So be careful about what you eat and what you drink. Drink plenty of water and fluids. The best fluid is water. The best drink is water. Every living thing has been created from water. Kulla shay'in hayy min al-mai. Everything which is living has been created from water. Safety and security, you have to take care of this, particularly fires, fractures, and traffic accidents. And fractures can happen very commonly because of slips and falls and the slippery surfaces in the haram with some water spilled there with those slippers easily slipping down, or even in the bathroom where sometimes you bath and you leave the soap down and the other person who is coming to the bathroom next is out in trouble. So be careful for others as well. Do not exhaust yourself and refrain from smoking. At-tadkhin qatil. Smoking is a murderer, a killer. Keep your medicine safe. Be careful. આ દવા બહુ કામ આવે છે, મને બહુ જ કામ આવે છે, તું બી લઈ લે ને આ. One man's meat is another man's poison. You cannot, some of the medicines, even though they sound very safe, they have some chemicals inside which can be dangerous to the person. I'll give you one example. There is some tablet called clarinase. It has something like loratadine, the anti-allergy thing, and it has something called pseudoephedrine inside. It's very good for flu, for people who don't have any other risk factor. But if you give a person who is taking blood pressure medicines, then you can induce stroke in that patient. So don't share your medicines without the knowledge. Keep your medicines to yourself unless you are 100% sure it is safe for others. Nose and mouth masks and social distance. It's very important. If you think you have flu, you are not in ihram, you finish your tawaf and things, you are resting, then avoid contact with others so you can wear a mask and social distance. And hand washing, all the time, hand washing. Be careful when you are shaving, particularly in Mina during, after the Qurbani, that you use a reliable source of shaving the heads. So what happens in Hajj, the acquired things? Respiratory infections, diarrhea, and constipation. Diarrhea and or constipation. Some people are so much used to their own washroom, 4 days, 5 days, they can't go to the washroom. It's very common. So if you have that problem, make sure you take your constipation tablets. Because the kafila will have the constipation tablets, but they are limited. So if there are 100 people and 50 of them get constipation, then we will have to have more than 50 tablets to be carried. It's not possible. So you take some yours if you think you have a problem. Sunburn, scabies and fungal infections are very common, particularly if you are sharing slippers, chappal, and so don't share chappal. Take a permanent marker and write it on your chappal. Ammar, Karim, whatever name, very prominently. He says, oh, this guy is like very selfish. No, I'm not selfish. I'm preventing you from getting my fungal infection. So I'm actually protecting you. Acquired disease like meningitis, but sprains and strains can happen, sprain on the ankle particularly. And then cracked feet. So in Medina it's very dry. It's very dry, it's very dusty, and it's very hard surface. So when you walk in the haram or while going to the haram and back, your feet can crack. So it is good to put little Vaseline on the sides, at the heel, away from the wudu area, because if you put on the top, then wudu will be a problem for masa. So put on the sides and wear socks. Even men should wear socks. Not for hijab, but for protecting your feet from cracking. And this I'll give you an example of cracked feet. It can be very severe, and if you are going to wear ihram and go to the haram to do tawaf, if these cracked feet start bleeding, then your ihram is ishkal, because you are bleeding, and you are making the haram najis, blood. It's a problem. We did not want bloodshed in the haram, so we left to do wajib hajj and went away on the day of Arafat to Karbala. How can we actually deliberately with our cracked feet go and put blood in the haram? So be careful of cracked feet. It is a very common problem. And so put some Epimax cream or Vaseline, some moisturizer like Eucerin or normal Vaseline. Wear socks in Medina. And always wash your feet. When you come back from haram, soak them in water. Just keep them soaked in water to soften them and put the Vaseline. For sprains and strains in the ankle is the commonest. Rise, to raise the feet up, immobilize, don't move it, put a crepe bandage, compress and elevate it. It's good to put ice packs. Okay. Now this is very important here. This slide, you can see the photo is one of my very close friends. Is Zafar Sharif there in that slide. And behind him there is one small little boy. That's my son Hussein, who is not that size now. There is expected the temperatures to go up to 50 this year. And therefore it is going to be very, very hot. Okay? So precaution is to drink water, but not icy water. Clean, safe food and personal hygiene, well-ventilated clothes, and plenty of fruits and hand washing. Ensure you go to the dentist before you go to Hajj. I am having no commission from Dr. Kamal nor from Dr. Shabir. But I can tell you, if you have a dental problem in Hajj, in Makkah and Medina, it's trouble. To look for a dentist in the Hajj season, it's not easy. So if you have any loose teeth or any painful teeth here and there, better get it sorted now. So Dr. Kamal, here goes. You will be very busy from tomorrow. Do not drink, drink clean water, clean juice, clean whatever. Make sure you get a dental test done, malaria test done. Keep your nails short. Don't carry tramadol, pregabalin, gabapentin or gabalin, sedatives, codeine or similar drugs without your own valid prescription, because it is illegal to carry this in Saudi. Now I will concentrate on heat stroke. specific precautions for heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Don't move out in the sunshine if it is not necessary. It is recommended during the day of Arafat to pray in the open sky. Recommended, sunnah. But don't kill yourself. It's fine to do ibadat in the tent, it's fine. It is better to do ibadat in the tent than doing it outside in the sun because it is sunnah. If you want to and you have a strong desire for it, quickly recite 2 rakat outside and come back inside. Drink plenty of water and sprinkle water all the time. So take a bottle of sprinkler and sprinkle to everybody. Of course, you have to seek permission, otherwise people get irritated and annoyed. And getting annoyed and irritated in ihram, you are making the other person's ihram in ishkal. So ask them, sprinkle, it's okay. It's usually very soothing. Nobody will refuse unless some people have some dislike to it. So sprinkle as much as possible on the head, on the face, on the ears. It will dry in a second, so don't worry. It happens mostly performing tawaf in the noon or standing in Arafat or in Mina from returning from the stoning on the first day, particularly when you are returning. Al-Hajj Muhammad Bhai tries to actually get us a slot in the morning so that we go fast early before the sun is very hot. So when you are told, when you are coming from Muzdalifah to Mina and you are told, ભાઈઓ બહેનો જલ્દી તૈયાર થઈ જાઓ 8 વાગે આપણે નીકળવાનું છે, then believe me, it has a lot of meaning in it. We don't want to lose anybody and you want to go sooner before it becomes very hot so that you return sooner. So when you are advised these kind of things, there are many meanings in it, and particularly for heat stroke. Last year there were a lot of problems because we were caught unaware. We didn't know that the heat can be so bad. Even though we had experience of heat, it was too bad last year. So there was one old person from another community. He was confused, delirious, almost losing his consciousness and was not himself. He was very old, and when I saw him, I think he was going to die. But there were two brilliant, brave young men from our community who stood by that man who did not belong to our community, and they took care of him and they started looking for ambulance and help everywhere. It was only God sent that I bumped into them while doing other activities, and there we found a solution. By the time we got a solution for him and started a drip and giving him sips of water and mashed banana because it has enough potassium, then he started opening his eyes and he started saying a few words. These two boys, from a human point of view and from whatever medical science I know, I think they deserve a loud salawat. Because they took that old man, kept him in the shed and started pouring water on him before anything else. So if you feel very hot, delirious, you are feeling chakri, feeling like vomiting, then best to sit in the shed and some person to pour water and fan you. So is this Ali Murtaza and Muhammad Jawad Lalji, these two boys. They did a great job. The idea of telling you this story is that if you find such a thing, you are getting confused, you are getting over-exhausted and you are feeling chakri and it's so hot and you have sweated until you have become dry, sit in the shed. Sitting in the shed is allowed. Moving shed is not allowed. So sit in the shed and get help. People to pour water on you and fan you. And always move together. go solo alone. If you get confused and you feel chakri and you fall down, it will be very hard for the kafila to look for you. If you are alone somewhere, nobody knows where you are. So always go together, avoid those places, carry a bottle of water always with you, plenty of water, sprinkle water, take some breaks in shaded area. For ladies, it's allowed to use umbrella, so you can take umbrella. And when out of ihram, for example, on the second day after the Qurbani, when you are out of ihram, when you are going to do the Rami Jamarat, then you can wear your cap, you can wear your dasha, you can wear your kefiye, you can cover your head and wet that cloth where you are wearing them. So after the Qurbani, you can cover your head. So this is very important. Even the hospitals are called Istashfa Zarbate Shams. Zarbate Shams means stroke, heat stroke. The zarbat which comes from the heat, it is so bad. Last year, for almost 8 hours, I didn't know where I was. And my very close associate, Dr. Hamir, was feeding me ORS and water like a small baby in sips of spoons until I became better. Because the whole day I had been taking care of people from heat stroke. So you need to take care of yourself even though you are a volunteer. So be careful, heat stroke is real and can be dangerous. After you return from Hajj, usually there is fatigue, exhaustion, body pain, headache, you are all tanned, you have cold and flu, lack of sleep, and a chronic cough. That cough is a mixture of virus, dust, allergies, and things. So don't be too much worried about it. You can take maybe a course of antibiotic, ask your doctor. But there is a faki, a local herbal medication. Marhum Malim Ahmad Isa has made that special one. It is a mixture of some things. You take it with honey. It's a very good one. And it actually soothes the throat. It's herbal. It's very safe. It won't exacerbate your heart or blood pressure or diabetes. Okay. So once again, for pre-existing conditions, take care of your diabetes, hypertension, and blood pressure, and heart disease. For those who have asthma, don't forget to carry your pump. For those who have arthritis, your medicines for joints. For varicose veins, don't forget to take your stockings and check your malaria. Malaria, I am making it a little more prominent here. If you feel you have symptoms of malaria, for those who come from Africa, take the tablet. Don't hesitate when your doctor gives. Anyone who is suspected to have malaria, the doctor will check the malaria for you. And before travel, please check malaria. I'm completing now. For ladies, you have to consult your gynecologist for regulation of the periods for Hajj. And for pregnant women, be careful of all those things we have said 10 times more. If you have a problem, consult the doctor. Adhere to the doctor's advice, stick to the clinic timings. In case of emergency, volunteers will be there to get you in touch with the doctor, so don't panic. And there will be a WhatsApp number where you can ask and utilize. So I'll end up here. Lastly, in the clinic, there are timings written on the wall. Although the timings are written, but actually it's 24 hours accessible. The doctor is around all the time, somewhere or the other, and you will get the advice. But it is important to maintain the dress code for men. For women, they are always maintaining their dress code. some men come with vests or t-shirts which are, I know it is very hot, but you can't come with a vest and shorts in the clinic where ladies are waiting out in the queue. It's not allowed. So be careful about modesty. In the ayat of the Quran in Surah Nur, it is first advice for the men to observe modesty, then it is advice for the women. So we are the ones who break this law. So be careful of the modesty. It has happened a number of times, and you should be careful about the respect of other women. It can be your mother with another man dressed like this and moving around it, or it may be your sister, or it may be your wife. So it can be anybody's mother, sister, or wife. Respect. Wear a hijab properly, the men. Women, no problem. They are always in the hijab. And this one, good health ensures good Hajj. All ibadat should be planned and have a purpose. And Hajj is no exception. So there are any questions, I'm here to answer. And thank you for listening, and pray for me, please. Son. So in the airport, sometimes they give, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they give ciprofloxacin tablet. The reason is many African countries and many other countries, people go with meningitis stem, not vaccine, stem. So they know it. But there is a stem, so they have to believe it. So in order to be sure, they give one tablet of cipro to everybody. It's fine, you can take it, there's no problem, even if you have had the vaccine.
Is it advisable to take a dose of Zaha azithromycin before we leave?
No, there's no need.
Measure?
No, there's no need.
Can we take it with us? Is that allowed to take it with us?
You can carry with you, but you can't take antibiotics like that only without doctor's advice. Turmeric tablets is allowed. It's good one. It is a natural antibiotic. It's a herbal thing. I'm not expert in it, but it's usually safe to take turmeric. We advise you and our children haldi and honey. Take no problem. If you have flu, it's good to wear a mask when you are out of ihram. In ihram, men cannot wear a mask. It's a problem. Actually, men can wear a mask. If it is medically, okay, it's fine. But women cannot wear a mask. Men can wear a mask. It's very hard actually to breathe in a mask.
What medications may not be permitted? Like, you said there are some medications that we take from here, not be permitted. As some that cetirizine, loratadine, those were there?
Any medicine which has addictive behavior and has sedation, neither nigori, tramadol, codeine, gabaline, pregabalin is not allowed. If you are taking that, you have to have a valid doctor's prescription for your personal use. The kafila will not take those medicines because it is not allowed by the government. These drugs have been misused to mix with drugs, illicit drugs, to boost them. They are boosters of illicit drugs, so they are not allowed. If you are well hydrated and sitting in the shade, it is less likely. It's not possible. There are a number of things, like there is something called lem sip. The lemon sip is good one with vitamin C. They are small little sachets. The best one to replace your electrolytes is ORS solution. The ORS packets which we give when children get diarrhea, those have very good electrolytes, physiologically very similar to what our body water has. So don't take all those kind of things. There are some drops in the bottle which comes, you put in the water and drink. People from Canada used to bring that. some pepsicle or icicles, they are sold, or there are some other different types of things. You need to avoid those because they have electrolytes which are too much and your kidney cannot clear them. And if you're having blood pressure problem, it is serious. You can't take those kind of things. Better to take ORS because the composition is well proved even for children. So we are safe to take ORS as much as possible. And plain water. Sorry? In that heat, because you are losing a lot of sweat and you are losing sodium and potassium, you are only replacing it. You are not in a stable state like here, and you are a heart patient and you are a pressure patient and you start drinking ORS. No. In the stable states, you are not allowed. In heat stroke or in heat, very heat area, you have been sweating a lot. You want to replenish, take ORS. If you have hypertension or if you fear it will be too much of sodium and potassium in it, dilute it twice. Over dilute it, it's fine. Barley water is good, it's an energy drink like glucose water, glucosate and things like that. It's fine. Any? Fruits. 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 لِيَأْكُلُوا مِنْ ثَمَرِهِ وَمَا عَمِلَتْهُ أَيْدِيهِمْ أَفَلَا يَشْكُرُونَ. And eat of the fruits which you have not created with your hands. And why are you not grateful? Eat all kinds of fruit, but in moderation. Make sure you have cleaned them, they are washed, and you eat in moderation, little amount. Plums, peaches, whatever you get, you feel like eating one or two, it's fine. All the fruits you can eat. In summer, watermelon is the best. Yes. Any other questions? So no questions from ladies? If there are questions, you can write and send it over. So I think we have exhausted, and if you have any personal questions, I'll wait out there to answer any questions. Thank you very much, and please remember me in your du'as, and I wish you all a happy, healthy, and enlightening Hajj. Come back, changed people, inshallah. Wa akhir da'wana.